friendships, right? So I've had great friends, right? So I think that's the best part of being in a student life, right? Also the fact that you can have a lot of freedom, and because I really studied away from home, right? So staying in a hostel, the hostel life that you would come back and have, or just going around, traveling with friends, taking a bike and just, for example, going to Goa, or going to, for example, Kop, or Mangalore, or anywhere else. So those used to be, really good times with very strong memories, and that was, the best part of student life. When you are coming from a college, let it be a management institute or engineering institute, you think you've done well, right? And suddenly you come into a corporate world, and really you just start right from the bottom, right? In fact, sometimes you need to start much below the bottom so that people understand you. You can build your credibility. So at that times, the first 6 months are always very tough, right? So, but after that, when you start really getting your hands dirty and starting to understand the business, that's when the fun really starts happening, right? When you start interacting with clients, when interacting with customers, to see what they actually want, and what you can actually come back and do. So that's what I really enjoy. Principles are laws; they don't change, right? And values are derived from the principle, but they are more interconnected with the environment around you and the maturity of you as a person, right? So I think that's one of the big differences. So principles are of a higher order, values are which are derived from principles, right? So for example, if your value is get your work done, right, and not talk about it, right, but you come back and say, okay, now in a new environment, in a new company, you should be able to come back and get visibility from people, right? So you should be able to come back and talk about what is it that you can come back and do, and what is it that you have delivered. So that's one value which is changing, but you can come back and derive that. Integrity is a principle, doing the things right is a principle. How you come back and ensure things, value is, you don't come back and make any change which impacts that. So you will not come back and do something which is not right. Think what is it that your customer wants. Always look at a viewpoint of what is it that your customer wants, because we are having a job, or we are in this business because of them. Delivering beyond expectations, right? Or getting something innovative. That's a challenge for me, right? So let me give you a couple of examples. So if I could come back and drive a 40% improvement, that's challenging, right? If I'm going to come back and drive a 3% improvement, that's not a challenge. That's something which you can do just regularly. So you could come back and get that 40% improvement by driving 1% improvement every day, right? So therefore, over 40 days, you can have 40% improvement versus going back and just driving 2% improvement over 40 days. I always try and triangulate, right? So being an engineer, an MBA, triangulation is something which helps me understand if a person is saying something at one time, and if I ask him another question in another way, does he come back and make the same statement, or do they correlate, right? Or are they, complementary? Are they coming back in different directions? So I always try and triangulate stuff, especially when I'm looking at or meeting up with a new person, to see how good that person actually is. The most important lesson is that please think about your team's careers, right? Because it's not only a relationship for the period of time that person is reporting to you or doing anything. It's a relationship about, it's a small industry, right? So you will always meet people, across multiple companies. So ensure that you are always thinking about people's careers and coming back and developing that. So that's for people who are reporting into you or working with you. You also have peers and you also have seniors, right? So you need to be able to build a rapport with a lot of people, because in the kind of role that I am in, influencing skills are extremely important. You have to be able to convince a person to do something which is different from what they've been doing all this time. So how do you come back and interact with them? How do you come back and convince them? Maybe you show them data, or sometimes just go get people to go with your gut feel.